Okay, let's move on. We have Petra, who says, how do you create a sales culture when the partner group that is responsible for sales in a public accounting firm has primary responsibilities for delivering the services and running the firm as well? So I met Petra a while back, and she explained to me that as many accounting firms are, you have CPAs, accountants, which I'm sure you're going to have definitely some great experience on this, Jack, as a CPA yourself. And these, professionals, and this is the same for law firms, engineering firms, often any business where you have qualified people who don't see themselves as salespeople, but they are responsible for any revenue generation. And what Petra wants to know is, how do we engineer a sales culture where these professionals, in her case, these accountants, these CPAs, get it? And they go, well, yeah, I didn't sign up to be I didn't go to college and get a CPA to be a salesperson. But if I want to be successful, if I want to be a partner in this firm, I have to be able to make it rain. How do you generate that sales culture? Because I think this is obviously common to businesses that have got technical people in it all over.
I've got a lot to say here, Morné, and I really hope that I can get it done in the clock.
All righty.
I'm a degreed accountant. I worked at Arthur Andersen a long time ago. Didn't aspire to make partner, but was on the track to make partner at Arthur Andersen in Philadelphia's office. And so I'm very familiar with how the structure works in a legal firm, an accounting firm. And as you get higher up in the organization, you get to be partner, and now you're supposed to make it rain, so to speak. I think that was one of the reasons that Deloitte hired me on the West Coast to address a group of 300 audit partners of Deloitte at one of their regional meetings. And the person who hired me in the firm said, I want you to teach these partners how to sell other services within the firm. And I laughed because I'm going, so these people at the pinnacle of their career who have been accountants and great at whatever they do, now you want me to get in front of them and say, voila, in 3 hours, I made you into salespeople. It's mission impossible. But I took the assignment on and said, here's the way I'm going to approach it. And by the way, was incredibly well received. If I were a salesperson and I had the opportunity to go anywhere in an organization and meet with anybody in that company and ask them any question I wanted and as many questions as I wanted, as a salesperson, that would be heaven. That would be nirvana. That would be like, I've never had a client where I could do that. You can only go so far as a salesperson, but an audit partner can go anywhere and ask anything as often as they want. So why not, if you're offering a multitude of services, HR services, IT services, why not come up with the questions, put them into the banquet, practice them as the audit partner, and anywhere that you find that there is a way to help the client within those different cross services, if you didn't offer the solution that resides inside the company, I think you might be able to be sued for dereliction of duty. That Deloitte had the answer and they didn't hook me up with it. And as a result, we lost a bunch of money or we went out of business or what have you. So I went about it in terms of the responsibility. Our responsibility as a salesperson is help them with their needs, opportunities, and problems in the best way that I can. That to me is what a salesperson's job is. It's not to sell somebody something, is to help them with what our product or service is. So when we take that mindset, I don't want my partners that are audit partners to all of a sudden try to sell stuff, but to operate in that context, right? Yeah. So that's one approach. How do I make sure that the people responsible in the audit in the accounting firm make sure that they understand what selling is. That because there's a misnomer, and it's so you often aligned with the used car sales guy who's just trying to bait and switch you or sell you something that's not something that's good for you. I would never sell anybody anything that I wouldn't sell to my mother. And my mother and I had a fond relationship. So that's my mindset from a selling standpoint. Now I want to park that, and I want to add one more element. And the element I want to add to is, can you imagine? Petra was the name of the person asking the question. Can you imagine, Petra, if you hired me to represent your audit firm on the sales side of the house? Because all I want to do is knock on doors and find opportunities. Now, I may not be able to talk the talk of an accountant any longer, but when I needed to, I just want access to the partners that I can bring on to the call, bring on to the Zoom, bring on to the live meeting, so that they can talk the talk. But I can handle the prospecting, getting people interested, and I can get up to speed with, hey, give me some verbiage that I can at least be representative in a quality way of your company. And I don't want to do the accounting. I left that world. But would I love to go and generate new business? Now, here's the problem when we have the partners doing it. As soon as they don't really want to do it. So then as soon as they win new business, then they don't make as many calls as they were before, because I'm working on the account, and they have a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that they deliver on the promise, which is really their way of escaping making more sales calls. So you don't grow in a dramatic fashion, you grow in an anemic fashion. And so even though the rest of the industry might be operating the way you are, which is partners are responsibility for making it rain, I would just say, hey, have you ever tried it another way? And maybe we bring in one or two quality salespeople and have them tee them up as opportunities. So that's where I came out.
Yeah, absolutely spot on with what I was thinking. I was going to say, Petra, very similar for me. Two things. One is address the mindset within the company about what sales is. The way that I frame it to what I call non-selling sales professionals. So people that are not selling, they don't consider themselves salespeople, but they have to help with revenue generation. Come at it from a place of service. How can I be of service to my customers? And I can't be of service if I'm not speaking to them, if I'm not doing a good job of uncovering, as Jack says, their needs, their opportunities, their problems. So if you come at it from a place of service, then it's no longer about sales. It's about providing service to this customer, about giving them the opportunity to solve that problem. So there's a mindset issue that needs to be changed within that culture. And that's probably the harder thing to do. What we've done on the other side, as Jack mentioned, for a number of clients, accountants, wealth advisors, lawyers, is build that sales team, is go out and find those people that can open those doors, start those relationships, nurture that relationship to the point where now that prospect wants to speak to an associate, a partner, and then you've got your subject matter experts that you can bring in. And that is a model that's also scalable, because once your associates and your partners get busy with work, your salespeople are not encumbered by that. They're still out there, they're networking, they're going to conferences, they're making calls, whatever routes to market you have, and you have that constant influx of new business at the top of the pipeline. So wholeheartedly agree.